So I guess, maybe using an example of a portfolio company, say for instance, Hipcamp or Cambly, could you maybe share a little bit more about, just kind of walk us through, how you met the founders, maybe how you evaluate it as a marketplace, and, maybe some like the reasons why you think it can ultimately be like a large marketplace. So that way you give us an idea of kind of what you look for and how you evaluate marketplaces.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I could talk about both. They're both such interesting marketplaces, but I'll talk about Cambly just because it's uh kind of an interesting article. It's interesting insofar as some of the conversations we could have later, which is like, you know, all marketplaces. So Cambly is a marketplace for people to connect to a native English speaker. And I remember actually a partner, Jeremy Levine, who I worked with for 6 years at Bessemer, led the Series A. And I remember hearing about Cambly and being like, why did he invent? Like, this kind of seems small from the outside. By the way, I love companies that seem small from the outside. Hipcamp's opportunity also seems small from the outside. Um, but even though I like companies that seem small from the outside, I still have the bias of like, that seems small. What's up with this? Um, and and then I didn't really think much about it. And then Jeremy kind of reached out to us actually and said, "Hey, you should really talk to this company." And so I downloaded the app and I had like a real aha moment, which was that I had looked at some of the other marketplaces for language learning, and all of them are a tutor for, who says, "Hey, I'm an English speaker. If you want to learn English, I'm a Spanish speaker. If you want to learn Spanish, and so you're basically building a marketplace for the lowest common denominator, which could be like me as an English speaker trying to learn Spanish because I'm going to Spain or Argentina or whatever, or me as like literally a Ukrainian learning French, or someone in Brazil wanted to learn English. When you're playing for all those, different scenarios, you end up creating like a very generic marketplace, right? Which is tutors posting, with different prices, and you can choose how much you're willing to pay, and then you choose a tutor. It makes a lot of sense, but there's not a lot of differentiation there. What was so cool, I realized with Cambly, was that these guys had decided to focus just on learning English, and I didn't realize it until I downloaded the app. But what happens is like you go to Cambly, and right there, when you download it and you sign up, before you've paid anything, you get 5 minutes of free time on demand with an English tutor. So like right there, I go boom, and I was talking and pretending I didn't speak English with a native English speaker, and there was this aha moment for me, which is that when you're really, really, really focused on, in this case, just the needs of people who want to learn English, you create a very different product experience. You create this experience that's on demand, English tutors. And you also and you can do that because you create liquidity 24 hours a day, right? So regardless of where you are in the world, you have enough liquidity to handle the on-demand requests. Someone who is willing to wants to learn English is doing so to unlock economic, opportunity for themselves. And they need to be able to speak. It's conversational. And so in the very beginning of Cambly, there was no structure to the connection. It was just speaking, getting comfortable speaking. And then, now they have, structure that they can add, like, oh, it sounds like you're getting your prepositions wrong. Here's, a quick lesson we can do on that. But I thought it was so cool how different that was. And then, I spoke to the founders and just were super impressed by them, blown away by the business. It was kind of cash flow positive, from the really very, very beginning. And so it was an easy yes for us.